Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu salamu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir al-Quran wa Durr the Juz al-Quran Spares. And we are still reading from Surah Ghafir. We have reached verse 67. We'll begin with 67 in this session, inshallah. The context, the immediate context before this verse, the verse 57, just 10 verses before, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran that the creation of the heavens and the earth, the cosmos, the universe, is greater than the creation of the people, of the human beings. But most people do not know. So there are signs in the universe, there are signs in the human being. And this verse 67, gives details about the creation of the human being and how people are from the moment there is a zygote until the birth is given, and then being children until they become strong, young and strong, and then becoming old, and death ultimately. Let's read and comment, inshallah. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هو الذي خلقكم من تراب ثم من نطفة ثم من علقة ثم يخرجكم طفلا ثم لتبلغوا أشدكم ثم لتكونوا شيوخا ومنكم من يتوفى من قبل ولتبلغوا أجلا مسمى ولعلكم تعقلون. He is the one who created you. Of course, the original creation is the creation of our father Adam, peace upon him, from dust, from clay, from earth. He is the one who created you from dust, then from a sperm drop, nutfa. The nutfa refers to the union fuel, to the fertilization that takes place between a sperm and an egg ovum, the male and female gametes, which results in the zygote after fertilization. That's a nutfa. ثم من علقة. Then it is its next stage is becoming a clinging clot, and we know that now we talk about an embryo resembling a leech sticking to the, of course, once it emerges from the fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube, then it emerges and it sticks. علقة تتعلق به. It sticks to the it hangs on the wall of the womb when it is ready, really. So that's علقة. The etymology is about hanging on something, sticking to something, which happens after the fertilized egg emerges from the fallopian tube. The next stage, then he brings you forth as infants. يخرجكم. You are not, it's not an embryo anymore. And here we have a baby being born. ثم يخرجكم طفلا. so that you may reach your prime. To reach your prime is associated here with becoming strong. Uh, being a baby is not strong. So you'd reach a stage in which you are strong. This is very important because later on, the next stage is going back to become weak again and become old. لتكونوا ثم لتكونوا شيوخا. This is the very last stage before death. Though ومنكم من يتوفى من قبل, though some of you may die sooner, babies die, children die, even those strong people, the young die. Reaching an appointed time, وَلِتَبْلُغُوا أَجَلًا مُسَمًّى. Everyone and everything has an appointed time. So perhaps you may understand Allah's power. And the creation of the universe, we spoke about in the last session about the known part of this universe having 2 trillion galaxies, each one of them having hundreds of billions of stars. You can think about the planets, the moons, the other celestial bodies. And about the human being, we do have about 30 trillion cells. It could be a little bit less for females. It could be also a little bit less for, small, literally small males as well. So the range that I have read between 28 trillion all the way to some even 36 trillion. These are cells, skin cells, bone cells, blood cells, neurons, about 86 billion of them. Such a complex universe and such a complex human being. These are signs that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who created all this. It is impossible not to have a human being with more than 30 or about 30 trillion cells with 86 billion neurons in the brain. It's impossible even to have one cell thus far with all those scientists with the news is out about the Nobel laureates in medicine, for example, and it's wonderful. Science is wonderful to discover the universe as long as you don't add your own story, a prejudice coming from the theory of evolution, sequencing the human genome for the Neanderthal, full for a Swede. But those wonderful scientists and science could not produce anything compared to the. So you have the sequence, you know the building blocks of the human genome, the human being. You cannot produce even one small cell. It's somehow, in my mind, I'm comparing that the challenge, the ayat, in both senses, the signs in the universe, and the ayat, the being the signs, the verses of the Qur'an, the The eloquent Arabs, the pagan Arabs, they were very eloquent with poetry being recited probably on every tongue. Uh, so the Quran challenged them with these letters at the beginning of some of the surahs, the chapters of the Quran. Here are the building blocks, half of the Arabic alphabet, and the total number of these letters. Here are the building blocks. Come up with something. So they could not come up with something from the something like the Quran. They cannot come up with something as in this universe. Of course, needless to say, the impossibility is visible in terms of creating something that. How could we add something to the universe at large? A macro level, if you will, and on a smaller level, micro level, just producing one cell. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives life and causes death. He quickens, He revives the dead earth, الأرض الميتة, uh, which should be originally sterile. The universe was sterile. And it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives life, who makes transfers physics into bio, giving it life. هو الذي يحيي ويميت فإذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون. He is the one who gives life and causes death. When he decrees a matter, he simply tells it, be, and it is. It is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, kun fayakun. And in fact, the scholars would say something beautiful, that the creation took place between the kaf and the nun in no time. In no time, like it's not really. It's not a burden. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is omnipotent. He gives life, and just the verse before is about creating the human being from earth, from turab, from dust. And I mentioned casually, I said clay, I said it could be mud, من طين, من حمأ مسنون, من صلصال كالفخار, all of these. And the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ also confirms this. All of you all of you came from Adam, all of you belong to Adam. All of you, your father is Adam. كلكم لآدم وآدم من تراب. And Adam is from dust. Adam was created from dust. Don't be, the meaning here, of course, it speaks about the human family, but also be modest, don't be arrogant. All of us are the same. And in fact, all of us are the same, utilizing the opportunity. The Quran does speak about the different colors of the human being, that there are differences in our colors, there are differences in our tongues. Both are signs, positive signs pointing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the direction of Allah. So some of us have dark complexion, some of us have a fair complexion, and there are those of us who are in between. Regarding those with different physiognomy or different color, the issue should not be tolerance. While in English this is what you have, because tolerance, it entails a certain level of or degree of negative energy, if you will, a position you are not happy, so you tolerate, you detest, you tolerate, you don't like, but you tolerate. The Quranic paradigm goes in a different direction. Since they are ayat pointing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are to be celebrated. Tolerance fails the test. It's good compared to all the discrimination that they have, but it's not excellent. The Again, we talk about celebrating all these colors, and as much also we celebrate all these tongues. And of course, in terms of the precedent, creation of the universe comes before the creation of the a human being. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who gives life and causes death. When He decrees a matter, He simply tells it be, and it is. There is so much that we would like to understand. In the story of Sayyidina Ibrahim, Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, when he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show him how he revives how he quickens the dead. He wants to see, because on the day of judgment they will be resurrected. كيف تحيي الموتى? How he addressed Allah subhanahu, he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show him how he resurrects the dead. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, قال أولم تؤمن, first of all, don't you believe? He said, yes, I do. But I would like my heart to be tranquil, to be satisfied, to satisfy his curiosity, to be assured. قال أولم تؤمن قال بلى ولكن يطمئن قلبي قال فخذ أربعة من الطير فصرهن إليك ثم اجعل على كل جبل منهن جزءا ثم ادعهن يأتينك سعيا واعلم أن الله عزيز حكيم. Take 4 bears, divide them, not divide the bears alive. Obviously, he was asked to kill and divide the bears and distribute them over the mountains, parts here and parts there. In my mind, I hope it is correct, I thought that since Prophet Abraham was asked to slaughter and distribute the parts of 4 bears, then I thought it could be that we talk about mountains, one in the north, one in the south, one in the east, and one in the west, meaning from all directions, all alluding to all parts of the all directions, wherever people are buried, they will be resurrected at once. And here it's in the vicinity of Prophet Abraham. He could see all of them. He put them somewhere where, from his point of view, he can see all of them when they come to life. And he was told, call them and they will come to life. They will come to you walking, these birds. And as is the case in the Quran, since it is considered as if it did happen, but no details about the rest of the story, because that's what he wanted to see and that's what he was granted. There is only one small thing, I think it's important. كيف تحيي الموتى? How? He did see the bears coming to life, but he did not see the how. Kun, we hear, we read, we understand, it's be and it will be. But there's something that it's basically the divine decree. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is omnipotent. And when He decrees something, it becomes. Inshallah, we'll probably learn something. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant us paradise, and probably one of the beautiful things that will happen in paradise is that you will have answers for so many questions that cross our mind in this life. ألم تر الذين يجادلون في آيات الله أن يصرفون الذين كذبوا بالكتاب وما أرسلنا به رسلنا فسوف يعلمون إذ الأغلال في أعناقهم والسلاسل يسحبون في الحميم ثم في النار يسجرون ثم قيل لهم أينما كنتم تشركون من دون الله قالوا ضلوا عنا بل لم نكن ندعو من قبل شيئا كذلك يضل الله الكافرين ذلكم بما كنتم تفرحون في الأرض بغير الحق وبما كنتم تمرحون ادخلوا أبواب جهنم خالدين فيها فبئس مثوى المتكبرين. So we have here about 7 verses about the disbelievers, about their disbelief, rejection, arguing, of course, falsely. They are not interested really in the truth when you talk about the signs. In both senses, I would say the divine signs, but also the book. الذين كذبوا بالكتاب. They reject the book. They reject this book. They reject the Qur'an. So have you not see how those who dispute Allah's signs are turned away? They are the ones who reject this book and all scriptures. وَبِمَا أَرْسَلْنَا بِهِ رُسُولَنَا. We sent our messengers with, so they will know the consequences. And the consequences, we have details, beginning with verse 71 about their punishment in hellfire, the chains around their necks and their legs, and that they will be dragged. But let's I think hope that we'll simply cover these couple of verses about their disputation and about their rejection, and we leave the rest until the next session, inshallah. The disputes, sometimes they just simply when they say that the Prophet ﷺ was a magician, it means what he brought was magic. And this is the same with the previous prophets and messengers. Sometimes they simply say that these laws, we have about a couple of hundred direct verses, the verses that address legal issues in the Quran. Some people will dispute the validity of these. They might accept that this is a revelation, but they will dispute the validity, the appropriateness of these rules, these laws to modern contemporary life. So they come up with, so they put themselves in a position where they provide an alternative law, if you will. Isn't that shirk? Because they consider themselves better equipped today to produce laws, to canonize laws, to approve laws in parliaments and what have you, that literally these laws, the man-made laws, become the antithesis of revelation. So the book has the book, and by virtue of the book, the Quran, you have the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, وَمَا آتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. Whatever the Prophet ﷺ brought you, do accept. Whatever he has prohibited you, uh, don't do, detest. So it's a way of life. It's a way of life. And the opposite of those who dispute and those who reject the book and the revelations is really to accept and to submit to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also to be happy with what you have, with what we have. It's not like you submit and your heart is not comfortable. I think suffice it for this session, inshallah. We'll in the next session we'll continue the description of the punishment of those rejectors, the disbelievers. Until then, subhanakallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.